It seems like your approach is to take things public, to be open and honest about who you are, to identify as Muslim in the public sphere. A question though for you, and if this is something we want to discuss, part of that though is to take a stand on political issues. Like right now in the media, something big that's happening right now is that Roe v. Wade is possibly going to be overturned because the number of justices in the Supreme Court, it's been taken up to the Supreme Court, the case, and the number of justices are now mostly conservative, and so people are of the opinion that Roe v. Wade, which gives women the right to abortion, could possibly be overturned. And the clergy, with all due respect, haven't spoken on this. Muslims have taken it upon, Muslims in the activist area have taken it upon themselves to side with the liberal position, which is we should be fighting to keep Roe v. Wade. What do you think from an Islamic paradigm should be the stance of Muslims in America?
So I have a very unpopular opinion.
I hear you.
Right?
I'm for it. Go ahead.
We're not talking about the root issue. Why is abortion even an issue?
What do you mean?
Yeah, see, that's my unpopular opinion.
Uh-huh.
Most people are confused as you are when I bring this up. Like, why is abortion even an issue?
I don't understand. So are you saying, why are we having a discussion about it in government?
Why is it an issue? Why is abortion such a big issue? Why wasn't it historically an issue?
Well, I think for the first time when Roe v. Wade was passed, there's legislation that guarantees the right to abortion, like if a woman wants to do it.
Yeah, I understand. But what I'm saying is, why is abortion now an issue?
Well, people are not as religious. They don't care. They don't believe in the sanctity of that as a thing, I think.
Okay. So it's because of promiscuity.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and 95, what is it? I think I read this. I think it's well over 95% of all abortions are by women who are not married.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Meaning they're having children out of wedlock. Like having children out of wedlock. Is this an Islamic stance?
No.
It's not. Is it a Christian stance?
Of course not.
Are Christians talking about it? Having children out of wedlock. Or even a relationship out of wedlock. Just to be frank, we're talking about our Islamic principles.
I'm sure they are.
I'm not trying to be not trying to be, difficult or anything like this.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I'm sure at some level they are not as much.
They've given up on that battle.
Yeah.
They're not even talking about it. Right now in church, they'll give you dating advice. When aslan, is dating allowed within Christendom?
What's that word you use there? What's that?
To begin with.
Okay. Aslan. I'm just translating for the audience.
Yeah. To begin with, by default, is that allowed for you to have a relationship with a woman without being married to her? Is that allowed in a Christian?
Right. It's not.
It's not allowed.
Yeah.
But they've given up on that idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If we were in an ideal situation where people would only have relationships with people that they intended to marry, because I think marriage is a beautiful thing. I think we've destroyed marriage by opening up these floodgates. People say, oh, I have a boyfriend or girlfriend. It's marriage under a different name because they expect them to be exclusive without actually committing. It's a fear of commitment. We're destroying relationships. People experience heartbreak multiple times in their life. They can't settle down. When they want to settle down, they're like antsy, they're anxious. They don't know how to settle down. It's a mess, right? And it initially stems from people not wanting to commit. That fear of commitment and the fear of marriage and the fear of all these things. They don't want to make it official. I want to be able to wake up one day and just text her and be like, Ma'as-salam, I don't want you anymore. I don't feel like you. I want to move on to somebody else or something new. Right?
Yeah.
So with all of that said, since the vast majority, 95% or whatever it was, of all abortions are by women who are not in, either not in a committed relationship or obviously all of them are unmarried, right? If we solve that problem, would we have a problem with abortion? Abortion would be nothing. It wouldn't even be that big of a deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's because we've destroyed, and when I say we've destroyed, I don't think it was necessarily intentional. Like I'm not trying to stir up, there's a conspiracy against whatever. It's just the way things have gone, and we've unfortunately kind of stayed in those steps of shaitan, destroying the very foundation of making up society, which is a family unit. We have very few families left anymore. You know what I mean? This is for the first time, I think, in American history that more children are born out of wedlock than in wedlock. meaning they don't have an established family. Imagine those are kids that are going to grow up without knowing their dads, or even some of them not even knowing their mothers, not even knowing, not having an extended family to turn to. When they say it takes a village to raise kids, I know this. People who are families, you know why parents are so stressed out these days? Because they have no extended family to help out with the kids. Traditionally, historically, we had extended families, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors. All of these people were pitching in to raise those kids together. It is so tough to raise a kid, just one child, to raise him. Imagine raising him by yourself, let alone with two parents. Two parents struggle, right? Because it's almost impossible. Historically, this never happened. Historically, in the human race, we never had that where it was just two parents raising a kid. It was always the entire village. And now we're not even having two parents. It's one parent. Wallah, I can't imagine. Wallah, the sisters that are out there, or some of the fathers that are out there that are raising a kid on their own, may Allah bless them, may Allah help them and protect them. It's tough. And I'm not saying it's their fault. This is just the society that we're born into. If we can help the situation, we should. And this is why I think communities have a responsibility to help these types of things, right? So going back, abortion is just one of the consequences of the decay at the core, which is we're not actually emphasizing good families. If we take care, if people actually committed to a relationship, they don't have abortions. Typically they don't. And even in those cases, they have them under medical circumstances. And aslan shar'i, from a sharia point of view, that's allowed. If there's a medical necessity, if there's an emergency, something's going to happen, you can go ahead. This is why the Islamic stance on this is very nuanced. But what I'm saying, we wouldn't even be having this discussion if there was an emphasis on building a family, not being promiscuous before marriage. Many people, they can't wait to marriage. Like, marriage is so difficult these days. And even as a Muslim community, we've made marriage so hard. The halal is so hard and the haram is so easy. It's so easy these days. You want to do anything haram, you can do it.
Right. So
easily. You want to do something halal, it's going to take you a long time.
Yeah. So just for clarity, because that's another fun topic, but just for clarity on abortion, the Islamic position is that you said it's allowed under medical necessity. What does that entail?
I mean, there's resources. I don't want to get into, you know what I mean? Like the technical, details of what does it entail? Because that's a medical discussion.
Are you saying harm to the mother?
Harm to the mother, yeah.
Okay. But the normal position is that it's not allowed.
No.
No as in yes? Or no as in?
No, I mean, it's not allowed. It's not allowed,
okay.
Unless there are certain circumstances.
I hear you.
Does that make sense? Yaqeen, Yaqeen Institute had a very good article about it, infographic. People can check that out.
Okay. YAQEEN, just for clarity.
Yeah, YAQEEN, Yaqeen Institute. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So when something like this is being debated, like this is center stage all over the nation right now, this is what's being talked about. Should Muslims just stay quiet? Just sit to the sidelines and let you guys duke it out? Like, what should we do in this situation when we're talking about politics and things that will be enforced and enshrined in law?
So, just because people are talking about something doesn't mean that we need to be talking about the same thing. I'm a believer, I'm a fan of Muhammad Ali, the boxer. May Allah have mercy upon him.
Ameen.
He was a person who always set the agenda. People would come, they're like, hey, I want to talk about this. And he's like, no, I'm going to talk about this. He has his agenda. He knows what he's going to talk about. We as Muslims, we don't have to get caught up in discussions. Now, I'm not saying that it's irrelevant to us. It is, actually. It is very well relevant. But we should go to people who know what they're talking about, experts. I'm not an expert in abortion or in women's rights. Or in what would be, the consequences of siding with one side or the other. I know that almost every issue is very nuanced, and there needs to be a discussion on this. And like I said, I gave you my perspective on the whole thing. I think we're missing the point. This whole discussion would not even be a discussion if we actually went back to our original roots, as Muslims and Christians and Jews, not just, Like, I'm not talking just about Muslims. But the whole idea of like not emphasizing the family has